G'day gymnastic skill seekers, welcome back to another video. Today I want to share with you my journey to my first ever press to handstand, and then after achieving my first ever press to handstand, how I managed to refine it and just get better at it. Now it's a very big topic, there's a lot I could cover. I'm not going to talk too much about the flexibility side of it today, but I am going to mention that, and it has been a big part of the journey. But I'm really going to focus in on a number of drills that I used to build the strength and to build consistency in my press to handstand. So the press to handstand is one of my favorite exercises. It requires strength, it requires flexibility, it requires balance, it requires spatial awareness, control. There's just so many things going on in the press to handstand and a lot you have to think about. It's good to try and break the press to handstand down and be able to focus on smaller elements of the press to handstand so that you can get them ingrained and then they sort of become natural and allow you to free up some of your mental space to focus on other key elements in the press to handstand. But there is a lot going on and there is a lot you need to think about when you're doing the press to handstand. So whenever you see someone doing a nice press to handstand, you know that they've spent a lot of time training that movement. They've spent a lot of time building strength, building flexibility, working on their balance. And it's just a really impressive move to watch. And I love seeing people be able to unlock the press to handstand and then being able to refine it. It's not for everybody. You need to have patience, you need to be able to put in the hard work, and you need to be able to accept failure. You are going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot on this journey. So being able to have perseverance and continue to push through and just see failure as a chance to learn, a chance to grow, a chance to understand what you might be doing right and what you might be doing wrong and what you need to work on to help improve your press to handstand or any gymnastic skill that you're trying to work on. So let's get stuck in. Let's talk about my journey in the press to handstand, and I hope this gives you some ideas around some key areas that you might be able to work on, or give you some ideas around some exercises that you might be able to incorporate. I was digging back through some of the archives on my Instagram, and I do actually have a video of my first press to handstand. And as you can see, it's not very pretty. My knees are bent, I'm a bit shaky, a bit wobbly, a bit all over the place. The alignment isn't great, but who cares? It's awesome to be able to unlock the press to handstand. It helps us grow in terms of our confidence and motivation to keep going. Once we have the press to handstand, we can start to refine it. We can look at the areas of weakness and we can start to focus in on those and train them, and over time see the quality of the press to handstand definitely improve. So where did I start? Well, the first thing we're going to need to work on is just a handstand. If you don't have a freestanding handstand, then you're never going to be able to press to handstand. So I recommend building up to around about a 30-second freestanding handstand. Some people would say a minute, some people would say 90 seconds, but I don't agree. I don't think you need to have a huge, long endurance handstand to be able to press to handstand. One rep of press to handstand might take you 30 seconds to go up and down. So if you can balance on your hands for roughly 30 seconds, then you're in a good place to start training the handstand. I'm also going to say that, you need to work pretty close to having a straight handstand. If you've got a very big banana handstand that you can hold for 30 seconds, it's really not going to help you learn to press to handstand. You're lacking the strength to be able to open the shoulder angle. I'm not going to go into too much depth about that, but you need to work on drills that are going to help you build more strength in the shoulders that's going to allow you to open the shoulder and to hold that straight handstand. So the next thing you're going to want to work on is a straddle handstand, being able to hold the freestanding straddle handstand. Now, there are a lot of different drills we can use to accomplish this. We're probably going to start on the wall and be holding a wall-facing straddle handstand. Then you're going to be kicking up to handstand and lowering down into the straddle and working on holding that straddle handstand. You might need to work on your flexibility, your adductors, your forward folds, your pancake stretch. All these things are going to help you progress towards that straddle handstand. Now, I think it's important to master the straddle handstand before we start working too much on the press to handstand drills. Being able to be comfortable in this straddle handstand requires strong shoulders, and it requires good flexible shoulders and flexible hips. And it just makes the press to handstand a lot easier. Yes, you can muscle your way through the press to handstand, but it's never going to look pretty. It's never going to be aesthetically pleasing. So being able to get a straddle handstand is a key milestone in working towards an aesthetically pleasing looking press to handstand. I'll talk about this a little bit more in some of the exercises ahead, and you'll see why this is sort of a critical step along the way. Once you've unlocked the straddle handstand, then we can start to work on the press to handstand eccentrics. So we kick up the handstand and we start to open up into a star shape. So we're parting the legs and then we're coming down into the straddle. We should be able to keep the legs pretty straight here, and we're sort of opening the legs wide, and then we're flexing at the hips by anteriorly tilting the pelvis, bringing the legs down to parallel. Then from here, we start to go below parallel. So this might be our first time we've actually started to do this. So we have to understand how to use our hip flexors to pull the legs down and get the feet as close to our hands as we possibly can here. It's that ability to be able to close the angle between the torso and the thighs, and that comes from core compression work. Your L-sits, your straddle L-sits, your hanging leg raises, all these things are going to help Now this can be done with the back to wall, and I can't say that I didn't use this exercise, I did, but it's just not one that I'd recommend. I don't find it as helpful because it takes away the strength element, the strength building of the shoulders. So although you can practice, a back to wall eccentric straddle press, and it might teach you a little bit about the movement of the hips and about the movement of the spine as we roll down, it's not really going to help you build the strength in the shoulders required to do the press to handstand. So maybe it's a good little drill for educating the body how to move, but it's not a good drill to progress the press to handstand in terms of the strength component. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said I never used the back to wall press to handstand on my journey. I have used it, and I do still use it with clients. I just don't feel it's one of the best exercises that's going to help you unlock the press to handstand. It does give us the chance to practice the movement without requiring balance, but it places a lot of pressure into the wrists and can cause wrist pain and wrist injury. It also doesn't have exactly the same steps in terms of pressing to handstand. So we start with the shoulder closed in the pike position. Okay, that's a good thing. We roll through the spine and we bring the legs up into the straddle handstand. That's okay. But in this position here, this is when we really need to open the shoulders and hold the freestanding straddle handstand. Now, the back to wall variation doesn't allow us to do this. We have to close the legs and bring the heels to the wall before we open the shoulders. So the movement path or the movement pattern is very different to the real thing, to the real freestanding press to handstand. So although it's got a few little benefits, I'm going to say it's really not a great exercise to use for the press to handstand. Play around with it, try it, see what you think of it, but don't make it the main part of your press to handstand program. There are better exercises to be using. To be honest, I spent a lot of time working on the press to handstand eccentrics, being able to control it from straight handstand coming down, being able to hold the straddle position for a few seconds, and then really focus on the core compression, bringing the feet to the ground and doing my best to keep the legs straight, which has always been a limitation for me. The biggest limitation on my press to handstand was my flexibility. So I had to spend a lot of time working on my pancake flexibility to improve my press to handstand. The next thing we can work on is we can work on the feet elevated press to handstand. There's a couple of different ways we can do this. I like to use a slider because it helps us create a little bit of momentum that helps us press into the handstand. Other people don't recommend the slider because it can create too much momentum that makes us overbalance in the handstand. The way I like to work around this is I like to make people pause in the straddle. So we're sliding the feet along the box. We're staying in a pike position, which helps us get the hips a little bit higher. We're understanding how to stack the hips over the wrists and elbows and shoulders. And then we're pressing into handstand, opening into the straddle, and pausing in the straddle handstand. This allows us to slow down the momentum and show control. It gives us a chance to open the shoulders and use that strong straddle handstand that we've trained earlier in the journey before we take the legs together and move to the straight handstand. Another way to do this is just to have the feet on the edge of the box, to have the shoulder angle open and the hips stacked slightly behind the shoulders so you can just go straight into the concentric press to handstand without the slider. This will take away the momentum, so it'll make it a little bit harder to get the feet off the box initially, but it's also a great way to train the press to handstand with the feet elevated. Now, obviously, as flexibility and strength improve, you can start to lower the elevation. Step by step, you start to work your way towards the floor, whether you choose to use the slider or not. Like I said, I like the slider. It offers a little bit of momentum that helps us get out of that initial sort of press. I also like to use the more sort of pike position here, so we keep the feet together. Like I said before, this allows us to get the hips a little bit higher. I find it makes it a little bit easier to keep the legs straight for me personally. I find it harder in the feet wide position to keep the legs as straight. Maybe that's because I've got tighter adductors, but play around with it. See what works for you. If you want to have the feet slightly apart, try it out. Try it in the pike position. But the wider you make the feet, the harder it's going to be to get the hips stacked up and over the shoulders. You're going to have more compression strength to be able to get into a good position. And maybe that's another reason why, the straddle for me, or the feet apart, isn't as easy as the feet together. You progress this to the floor, so eventually you can use the slider on the floor to do your straddle press to handstand. I still recommend pausing in the straddle handstand when you do this because it slows down the movement and it gives you a chance to think about the key elements we want here. As you get to the straddle, you really want to open the shoulders. So now we have the wrists, elbows, and shoulders stacked in a nice vertical alignment. So as we start to bring the feet up into the straight handstand and we open the hips, so we're moving the pelvis from APT to PPT, and we're bringing them all into straight alignment, we have less to think about. If the wrists, elbows, and shoulders are already stacked, then we only have to worry about opening the hips and bringing the feet together. If you press through the straddle too fast and you don't have the shoulders stacked, then you've got a lot more elements that you're going to have to get right in the top half of the press to handstand. So slowing it down and having a strong straddle handstand makes the press to handstand a lot easier. Step by step, you bring together the little components that allow you to do the full movement. Once you can do the press to handstand on the floor with the slider, then we can take away the slider and we can start to work on just straight press to handstand here. Again, your core compression strength is going to dictate, the angle between the torso and the legs, and it's also going to dictate the level of strength you're going to need to be able to press to handstand. The less core compression strength you have, the greater the strength is going to need to be in your shoulders. You're going to have to lean your shoulders forward a lot more to be able to get the press to handstand, which means there's a lot more movement that's going to happen, which makes it a lot harder to control. You're also probably going to struggle with your flexibility like I did. Maybe you're going to be doing bent knee presses. So over time, you really want to work on your flexibility. Your pancake flexibility is going to help here. Your pike flexibility is going to help here. It's going to allow you to close that angle between the hands and the feet, which means you won't need to lean the shoulders as far forward to successfully press the handstand, which means the strength demands will be slightly less. You won't need as much strength if you're more flexible here. Okay, this makes the repetitions easier, so it's also going to allow you potentially to unlock multiple reps of the press to handstand if you've got better flexibility, because again, the strength demands are going to be less. So these are the main exercises that I use to help me unlock the press to handstand and refine my press to handstand. They're also the main exercises that I like to use with my online students who are on the same journey. The only other factor I haven't covered in this is obviously the flexibility side of things. We need to work on our flexibility, specifically our pike and pancake flexibility, to help lengthen the posterior chain and also strengthen the anterior chain. Obviously in the press to handstand, I mentioned before, the closer we can bring our feet to our hands in that bottom pressing position, the easier it's going to be to press into handstand. Also, the more core compression strength we have, we're going to be able to close that angle more. But also in the eccentric phase, once we get to the straddle and we start to bring the legs down, the core compression strength is going to help us bring the feet closer to the hands again, which is going to make it easier to do multiple reps of press to handstand, or move towards the stall to press, where we start in the straddle L sit and we press to handstand, and then we come back down to the straddle L sit, which is my next goal. It's the thing I'm going to be working on next. And to achieve that, I'm really going to have to improve my flexibility. My pancake needs to be a chest to floor pancake so that I can get that stall to press to happen. So that's what I'm about to embark on now. I'm going to call it Pancake 2.0. And I'm looking back at all of my old Pancake flexibility training programs and really thinking about, okay, what phase of this program helped me see the best results? What exercises in this phase delivered the best results? How can I take what I've learned over the last couple of years of training my flexibility and apply it to a new program that's going to help me progress my Pancake even further? Pancake 2.0, here it comes. I'm going to share this journey with you on my YouTube channel. So if that's something you're interested in, if flexibility is a big limitation holding you back from your press to handstand, then I suggest that you check this out and maybe you'll get some good ideas about, your own pancake training with this. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and it's given you some ideas about your own press to handstand journey. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave any questions or comments below. Also, feel free to share this video with anyone else who's on the press to handstand journey and might find it helpful. Until next time, happy press to handstand training.